I'm Dara O Briain. Welcome to my School of Hard Sums. We're here to examine one big question. When you have to cope with the practical problems of everyday life, what's the best approach? Should you try and solve them using the techniques of maths and science and rational thought? Or should you just roll up your sleeves and go out at hammer and tongs and trust to luck?
This show is a battle of brain versus brawn. And tonight I shall be playing the role of brain. Each week, my grey matter is pitched against the brute force of my two comic guests, as we tackle three increasingly fiendish problems that we've never seen before. Oxford professor Marcus de Sotoy is here to set the questions and decide whose approach is the best. And to keep us all on our toes, there's a bunch of brainy math students having a crack as well. But first, let's meet my competition for tonight. Andrew Maxwell and Mark Watson.
Pleasure to have you here.
Great to be here.
Great to be here.
Mark, are you a puzzle person?
Yes. No, not really. I find life itself puzzling enough without sort of contriving extra problems, I think, yeah. Like, just where are my keys is enough of a puzzle for my...
You can make all of your locks kind of prime numbers or something like that.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
just have to remember which primes it was that opens it.
Not every locksmith will take on work like that, though.
It doesn't very difficult. You ring them out at 3 in the morning. God, I've forgotten my prime numbers because I'm now really hammered.
Yeah.
Is that passwords? Do you have a particularly difficult to remember password?
I have 1729. That's the taxi cab number.
That was, what's his name, Ramajan?
Yeah, Ramanujan was an Indian mathematician who was very sick in hospital, and the person he was collaborating with, Cambridge mathematician Hardy, came, and we're not very good at small talk, so Hardy said, oh, I came in a taxi which had a very uninteresting number, 1729. And Ramanujan said, oh, no, it's a very interesting number, Hardy, because that's the smallest number that can be written as the sum of two cubes in two different ways.
Oh, I bet he felt better after that.
Yeah.
Hardy is a very famous mathematician who wrote a book called A Mathematician's Apology.
Kissed Nelson on his deathbed, famously.
Not quite the same one, but nonetheless.
But he was testing D'Urbervilles in those novels, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was the fat sidekick of Laurel.
I see what he did there.
But he had one thing which was quite a good scheme, that he was on a very difficult boat crossing once, and it was thought that they wouldn't survive. And he went to the boat's communication rooms and he sent a telegram saying, have solved the Riemann hypothesis. He hadn't solved it, but he knew that if he died at sea, he would eternally get the credit for having solved this, and he thought that God would not let him away with that, so that therefore he would survive the crossing.
But it shows if you're about to die, make some wild claims, and then you sort of win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Except you won't be there to know, unless you are. Like in a comedy ghost situation.
This is the idea for a sitcom, the ghost of the mathematician Hardy.
Yes.
And you go, no! The ghost of and corrects people's work on the blackboard.
It might be sort of a little bit niche.
Yeah, ghosts of all the famous Hardys. All 5 of them.
And there's different adventures occur, and then they go, this is one for me! The Hardy Boys. This is gold. Scrap this show. Now, let's get focused on the problem here. You have a theme this week.
Oh, we do have a theme for you, which is, does crime add up?
OK.
Yeah. So I've got a little problem for you to kick off with. You're all in prison, and I'm the prison guard, and I'm going to give you a little puzzle. And if you can crack this puzzle, then I'm going to release you all. But if you cannot crack it, then tomorrow you shall all be executed.
I think this is very irresponsible justice. The legal system shouldn't work like that.
Well, don't you think so?
Yeah. Is it weird to ask what we've done?
You stole bread to feed your family.
Thank you. Noble.
So the guard has taken mercy on you.
I killed a guy just because to watch his expression change.
OK, so come over to the table and I'll set you your challenge.
Right then. First, before we go to prison, we're going to be chefs.
So I've got 4 hats here.
But we are 3 heads.
3 heads, exactly. So 4 hats, 2 red and 2 blue. And what I'm going to do is to line you up such that you're facing in a straight line. And you're not allowed to look at the hats or look round at the person behind you. You're not allowed to speak. And what you've got to do to get free is one of you has to identify the colour of the hat that I put on top of you. Okay.
3 prisoners are standing in a row, facing in the same direction, each wearing one of 4 possible hats, 2 red and 2 blue. The prisoners can't speak or turn around, but it is possible for them to work out who's wearing what hat. But how? And do we even deserve our freedom?
I shall start placing hats on
All
your
I did was
heads.
steal bread, feed my family.
Dara to start with.
Yeah, I can't see anything there. That's grand.
Granted, it was quite expensive bread, you know, that sort of really nice stuff with walnuts through it. Yeah?
Mark.
It's the sort of bread that you like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I also stole some balsamic vinegar to go with it. I also stole a main
It's the
course.
chatty one at the front.
Quite the middle-class thief, aren't you?
It's changed.
You sold bread and a dip. No.
OK.
So there's 2 blues and a red, or 2 reds and a blue on our
Very good.
collective heads.
Yes, exactly.
But, well, you've got some information Mark. I know nothing.
Yeah, I know. I know. You're in a stupid situation.
All
You
I
don't even
know
know
is
what colour
that-
your hat is.
Yes, but don't say. But you
I
do
can't.
know the colour that's on Andrew's
I
head.
do know the colour of yours, Andrew.
And I know the colour of
And
both
Darwin knows
of your
mine.
hats.
And Andrew's.
Yeah.
And I know my place.
You're just a goon.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The
Quality
kids,
reference.
kids
Very
didn't
good.
get it at all.
Students, no idea what that was.
Why weren't you watching 1950s television comedy? I think probably the most rational thing for me to do is say nothing.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah.
It falls to me and Dara, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I just add one important piece of information?
Yeah.
I've said nothing.
So how's that an important piece of information?
Right, if Dara could see that both of our hats were the same colour, he would know that his couldn't also be that colour, right? There's only a maximum of 2 blues, 2 reds, right?
Right.
So he must be able to see that we have different coloured hats on, and I know what yours is.
So he doesn't know what his is?
No, none of us knows. If we all knew our hat colour, we'd be in a much better position here.
Yeah. Which means that...
Which means I know what my colour is, surely.
How do you know that what yours is, then?
But
you
because
can
mine
see...
can't be the same as yours, otherwise Dara would know what colour his is, I think.
Dara is nodding his head behind you with such enthusiasm.
Yes.
He was almost... Right,
Yeah,
what
I'm
is the
ready.
colour of your
Marcus,
hat?
I have a red hat on.
You do have a red hat on! You're all three!
There you go. Yeah.
Let me change the colours of the hats to illustrate what would have happened. I gave you the most challenging
Can
setting.
I turn around yet?
In a minute.
Fairly obviously,
Yeah.
if...
So if I set the hats...
Then I
the
trivially
front,
would have gone,
Yeah, so,
I believe I'm wearing a red hat.
Yes. So, students, how did you... Oh, there are lots of... Wow, look at these. There's some decision trees going on down here.
Little probability tree.
This is what they do, Mark.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Look at what she's bloody got
Wow.
there.
They've all got it. They've all
God
done.
almighty, she's done it with, like...
None of it makes
she's
any
put
sense.
things like P brackets RNB over P brackets B.
This one at the back, that's words, not maths.
Yeah, it is. It's
She's
words.
written a story.
words.
Mark knows. I like that. I'm keeping that as a souvenir.
You can take that home.
Just the word Mark, no.
Hey, whoa,
I have to work it again when I'm wearing.
whoa,
Billy Blue hat.
Whoa. I'm wearing a blue hat.
Yes!
Yes! Excellent. Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I
Thank
think the first round clearly goes to Mark and Andrew because that's a brilliant piece of logic. So,
Well done, mate.
Braun,
Thank you.
ahead at the moment.
Yes,
But,
by DVC using brain. Well done.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
OK, what's our second problem?
Well, you're out of prison and it's poacher turned gamekeeper because now you are going to be solving a crime. So I think actually it's going to be hats off.
I'm happy to put my prison days behind me, to be honest.
Here we go. Sorry, hats away.
That's it. I'm going clean.
This crime took place in a park. So the victim entered our park through the flower beds and ended up being murdered in the middle of the park. Now, there are 4 suspects. A dog walker.
I don't know the sound of them.
They always find the body, don't they?
Yeah.
The dog walker entered at the west gate and left via the car park. Now, there's a parent with a toddler who entered by the east gate and left by visiting the play area. The jogger entered at the south gate, went round the pavilion, round the lake, back round the pavilion, and out the south
And out
gate.
the south gate.
He is the only one who has an alibi. And the park keeper entered at the north gate and went to the pavilion. None of these paths crossed each other. Now, the reason the police knew that none of the paths crossed is because it was an incredibly muddy park.
Well.
So a man entered a park at the flower beds and was found dead between the pavilion and the lake. There are 4 suspects. The park keeper, he entered at the north gate and went to the pavilion. The dog walker entered at the west gate and left via the car park. The parent with the toddler entered by the east gate and left after visiting the play area. And the jogger, who it turns out has an alibi, entered at the south gate, ran north around the top of the pavilion, a few laps around the lake, and then followed the same route back to the south gate. None of their paths crossed, including the victims. Well, it makes the routes harder to draw, but the crime easier to solve.
The jogger has an alibi. Doesn't mean he's innocent.
No, well, the alibi is pretty solid.
You wouldn't have mentioned him to us if he was all that squeaky clean.
Mother and toddler was...
Mother and toddler went from East Gate to play area.
Right. Just presume that she didn't take that incredibly circuitous a route around.
Well, because the toddler was probably being difficult and stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, it can't be the mother and baby.
Why can it not be the mother and baby?
Toddlers are very dangerous.
Mothers never kill.
Interesting, I think I did say... Did I say it was a mother? I think I said it was a parent.
You said a parent, actually.
I said a parent, so I think a little...
Dads are often very angry and frustrated.
yeah.
Can't kill your own kill. Our Parky, he went from the north gate to the pavilion.
That's all he did.
Our jogger...
Jogger went
South gate.
And around.
I'm already seeing a problem here.
Yeah.
So, this away.
Right.
All right.
Has to have gone that way. Mother and child.
Leaving the jogger...
Jogger, which went this way. But let me just stick it here to the shoreline of the lake, because we don't know, and I think it's going to be in some way part of this, which way he went around. And then finally we have Westgate to the dog walker, was Westgate to...
Westgate to the car.
Yeah, to the car park, exactly.
So that...
Yeah, so interesting.
What's that?
Well, there's paths crossing here, clearly.
Yeah, so that...
Make them not cross.
So that he's going to have to come all the way around here, perhaps,
OK, we're still in the process of coming up with an answer. Join us to find out who did the murder, but also to find out the large question this week's show, and that'll show us why Mark and Andrew have been spotted around doing this.
I've had a revelation. This one! Lies down coverage checks, please. Let's check coverage, please. Ah!
Welcome back to School of Hard Sums. The programme pits me against some comedy chums of mine, Mark Watson and Andrew Maxwell, in a battle of brain and brawn. We're trying to solve a murder set for us by Marcus the Sotoy. We've also got a bank of students who are trying to work it out as well.
It's elementary, my dear Watson.
That's lovely.
Thank you. Thank you.
They've been working on that for so long.
Oh, really?
There was a joke there.
There was a slight risk that this would pass without elementary idea Watson being said, and it seemed like such a waste.
So we're plotting the routes of various murder suspects to a park where a body was found. We know that the victim took this path and was found here. And we've been told that the park keeper entered here and went to the pavilion. The dog walker entered here and left here. The parent and toddler came in here and left here. And the jogger ran this route. Two final key pieces of information are that the jogger had an alibi, and crucially, because the park was very muddy, we know that none of the paths crossed. We know where done it, but who done it.
Well, we're all tied up with this case.
Lovely. Oh, dear, we're on the ropes.
We're on the ropes.
No.
Yeah, you wanted to do one,
I did.
but you didn't want to say it out loud.
Say it out loud.
Say it in front of the rest of the class. Come on.
Do the not joke.
Do your not joke. Come on.
That string? No, I'm afraid not.
There you go. You're as bad as us.
The jogger came in, went round.
Went round the pavilion.
Yeah.
Went to the north.
Why didn't you join a gym, this guy?
Went to the north.
Yeah.
Went round the lake.
Went round the
back.
pavilion again.
Yes, and went out through the south gate.
Oh, so he's changed. Right. I think he's an arse, this guy. I really do.
I don't understand.
He's a difficult witness, and he's of no help whatsoever. OK, mind you, that still leaves that open.
The path of blood
Bit of
comes,
claret, bit of claret.
as far as we know.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Now, your park keeper went in through the north gate and got to the pavilion without crossing any of those paths.
Impossible.
At the moment, it's difficult.
Could we see pictures of all the accused and use ingrained prejudice, please?
OK.
It's amazing we've not even met the suspects yet.
So who would you accuse on the basis of that, then?
Dara.
Maxwell.
Me.
Well, one of the Irish
economy.
ones.
Typical Irish, fight among ourselves. So this has to go all the way around here.
That's next to the car park.
All the way around here.
Yeah.
And pins or some sort of adhesive would really help. That's what he does now, interestingly, because he comes around the outside of him. It doesn't matter if he goes around the pavilion or not, really.
Oh, my gosh.
And then he blocks off the park keeper from the jogger. And then comes out here.
And goes down there.
And then goes down there and out. So the toddler and parent, they arrive in and they have to get to over here.
Impossible.
Right? Okay. No, not impossible.
Possible.
No, not impossible.
Possible.
Tell me how.
I'll show you how.
He comes in through the east gate. He goes to the playground.
Yes, he does.
Through all of this mess.
How
Possible.
weird.
Let me pass
Four
some straight
people
to you.
would individually choose such unusual paths through the park.
But it was that sort of
That is-
day, an unusual day.
So he goes in here,
Started like any other day, Maxwell.
tiptoes through, outside the pavilion.
It still crosses the path of the victim.
Feed it in.
It doesn't. You need to feed it in. It doesn't cross the path. It only appears that way because this string is a terrible thing with which to be doing this. In fact, there's more and more, please. Yeah.
Let me feed it out.
He's got the temperamental ways of all these great detectives. Yeah. Holmes used to get very angry with this string as well.
Yeah, but he was coming down off coke.
That's true.
And then he goes in between the jogger's path and the returning path of the dog walker. This is very difficult to illustrate here. The only person, if we believe the jogger, is the toddler, with the toddler's accomplice.
The adult.
Babyface Murphy, the 2-foot killer.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Marcus, have we solved the mystery?
That is the correct answer. So I think, Dara, you got that one. You're the Sarah Lunt of this round. So Brain wins out over Brawn when it comes to solving mysteries.
Did everyone get that, by the way?
Let's see your maps.
That's how elegantly drawn is that.
Look at that.
Swirling maps. As a
Look, he's
person,
even
a
written
dead
parent and
person.
toddler at the top there.
Who has? Oh, he has, yeah.
Look at it. He's underlined it ominously, like he underlined Mark Nose.
Once again, here's how the crime was solved. Plotting the path of the victim is the first bit of business to take care of. Then, our jogger with the alibi. Next, get the park keeper's route in place, and you're now in a position to weave the dog walker and the parent and toddler's routes through these restrictions. It becomes clear that the only people who could have made contact with the body are the jogger and the parent and the toddler. But the jogger has an alibi, so the parent and toddler must therefore be the killers.
In fact, mathematics is used a lot in solving crimes. I mean, pathways like this, working out the logistics of it, but also there was the bomber who set off loads of bombs at Sainsbury's all the way around London, and they actually used the locations of where all of the bombs went off, and a mathematical formula which put in those locations, which located where the bomber was. Because there's a kind of rule that if somebody's committing a murder, they don't commit it too close to home.
But they don't get it too far away.
Too far, because they don't want to go at miles. So you have sort of buffer zone around the area. So when you look at where all the bombs went off, it just looks like a chaotic mess across London. But if you use this mathematical formula, they were able to identify that, in fact, they were living in Chiswick. Which I think is where I live. No! You can take these locations which... so, for example, they've also applied this to Jack the Ripper, and they've looked at where all of his crimes took place. And using this formula, you can actually identify pretty closely where he lived in the centre of London.
And do we know who he was?
We know where he lived.
Well, surely that's like a basic episode of Who Do You Think You Are? If you know where he lived. And on that bombshell, join us after the break when we'll be tackling the show's big problem.
But before that, here's something to ponder over the break. If a counterfeiter can forge one painting in 1.5 days, how many counterfeiters will it take to produce the 12 paintings you need to get made for a mob boss in 6 days' time? Before the break, I asked you how many counterfeiters will it take to produce 12 paintings you need to get made for a mob boss in 6 days' time. If a counterfeiter can forge a painting in 1.5 days. Well, one counterfeiter can forge 4 paintings in 6 days. So the answer for 12 paintings is 3 forgers.
Welcome back to School of Hard Sums, the programme that pits me using brains against my fellow brawny comics, the two thinnest brawny comics in the world of comedy, Mark Watson and Andrew Maxwell. But Marcus, it's time to find out what the big question is this week.
Exactly. You're working in an art gallery, and you've got to set up some security cameras in this art gallery to stop any thefts taking place. Now, this is how the art gallery is laid out. It's a very curious geometric
I like
shape.
it. It's a nice space.
Exactly.
I like the light.
There's a great big pillar in the middle, which is what that square
It's unfortunate,
is.
yeah.
Now, the security cameras have to be attached to the walls, and they can do a maximum of a 360 sweep, but obviously they can't see around corners.
Yes.
So the challenge is, what is the fewest number of security cameras that you can get away with, such you can see everywhere in the gallery?
Wow. OK.
So you're in charge of an interestingly shaped art gallery. You have to position security cameras around the gallery so that all the walls are covered. The cameras can swivel to a full 360 degrees, but must be attached to a wall. What's the minimum number of cameras you need to cover every wall of this really weird-looking gallery?
It wasn't a quick process. I don't know if you've ever slow roasted something.
I have slow roasted things, yes, I have, yeah.
I don't know whether you've ever not slow roasted something. That takes even longer.
It does, yes.
That can be a whole lifetime.
Waiting for the room to roast it, it takes much longer than popping it in the oven.
Yes.
I really want to see how you did this. In fact, the beauty of this is I can actually see
Yeah, you
how
can.
started, but we can all see it. Let's see how they started the problem.
Right, pretty straightforward stuff. What's this got to do with maths, though?
This is rather horrible. It's sort of the worst thing about it is that is a likeness of my face. There's actually loads of these. We are looking at an art installation.
We're doing something with art.
Art.
And counting Mark Watson.
Art. I really am getting that.
I don't quite know what this is for, but this is definitely the best experience I've had in my life so far.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, now,
See?
wait a minute.
Do you know what? These are disco lights, man. You, I've always thought, are the stern face of patrician authority.
It's what I'm famous for. Yeah.
You should be the security guard.
I'm going to rule this gallery like with an iron fist.
Anybody who knows me, I'm an absolute ponce.
Therefore, artist.
Boom. Let's do this.
It's sparse, isn't it, for an art gallery?
It's a little bit sparse. I mean,
It's the art. There's not as much art as you'd expect.
Listen, in the world of health and safety we live in, this has got to be a clue of some sort. You don't leave cables everywhere.
Oh, this is absolutely criminal. I've never seen such wanton use of cables.
I'll make this place look nice.
OK.
You work out what that's all about.
I'll get with the cables, yeah.
Right, let's be arty, make it look nice. But at the same time, I'm going to count the walls. 1 wall. 2 walls. None of this is maths.
How many cameras would we need to keep an eye on all of this
A
art
minimum.
gallery?
Tell you what that could be about. I've got some great old big things here.
Each one of these adds up to a security camera. He's
having a lovely time in there with
It's going to be a case of dim the lights, you can guess the rest, as Brian Ferry once sang, except we won't be guessing the rest, we'll be calculating it.
Just like Brian Ferry's entire career. It's got to be pretty easy. We just go into the corners and see what we can see, right?
My worry is this thing, because if it was just one big open space, we could do it pretty simply, but...
It's to do with the angle of the dangle. We can solve this without having to bother ourselves with any of those pesky numbers.
Yeah.
I've got to wait. Come on.
All right.
So let's bring it all in, though.
I hate numbers anyway. I'm a letters man. You're either a letters man or a numbers man. I'm a letters man.
Sorry, why were the disco lights? What kind of gallery were you running?
It's so that we could see from whence that our security camera was illuminating.
OK, well, I'm going to try to solve this in a slightly more abstract way, so I'll go over and do that.
Do you know, there's a piece of art,
Yeah.
20th century art, which is full of mathematics. Quite an abstract one, actually. Abstract painter.
Oh, Jackson Pollock.
Jackson Pollock. You think anyone can flick paint around like this, but this has something called a fractal quality. If you zoom in on a fractal, you just can't tell what scale you're at. It isn't, in fact, the complete painting. So if we zoom out, it's actually a portion.
Crikey.
So it's very hard to tell what the scale is of these paintings. There is a way, mathematically, to fake a Jackson Pollock, and it involves this thing here.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Once we've faked it,
This could be
let's
make a
never work
fortune.
again.
Now, this is actually a pendulum. So, of course, pendulums, classically, of course, Galileo realised they have incredible regularity to them, and we use them to keep track of time. If you introduce a little extra feature to this, so I don't know if you want to set this pendulum off, but I put some magnets, so I've got magnets on the end of the pendulum.
Okay.
4 magnets
Just
here.
there.
Yeah, go on then. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, right.
That's incredibly.
Maybe not so far.
They just go back and forth with such regularity, don't they?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Oh, very
Yeah.
good.
Here we go. Here we go.
So it looks
look at
pretty
that.
regular to start with, but as it begins to interact with the magnets,
Oh, wow,
look at
that is
that.
quite exciting.
That's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it is fun.
Oh, which magnet's going to win?
so this is actually an example of something called a mathematical chaos.
Yeah, I've been to house parties.
So how can you use this to fake a Jackson Pollock? If you put paint on the bottom of this magnet and got it to just drip the paint out. So look at, if you think about where all the paint would be going, it'd be just being flicked all over the place.
You can see that as Jackson Pollock, almost, can't you?
Yeah, you can see that.
Actually, I think we've got a chance to look at some of Dara's work, if you want to...
This better be elegant, Dara.
Enormously elegant. It is like a ballerina
Oh, look at that.
Do
in
you
a
want
field of
to
buttercups. It is beautiful.
Dara, what have you written at the top?
Convex polygon, I think it says.
So he's going to break the concave shape up into as few convex polygons as possible, which is quite a good strategy. So that's why he's put in all of these... you see this line
Little
here?
lines, yeah.
Yeah, so he's trying to break the thing up into classical shapes. So it seems like he's got quite a good strategy there. Break something complicated into small, simple pieces.
Sometimes in life, just problems threaten to overwhelm you, but break them down.
Break it down. Talk to somebody you trust. If you don't know anybody you trust, talk to the barman in the airport. He don't know you. You can really tell him who
You'll
you
never
are.
see him again.
Right. And if he looks like he's going to squeal, kill him in the staff toilet.
It's always manageable. Everything's manageable. This is what maths teaches us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gentlemen, how are you? Oh my, what's that? Were you playing with a
We were doing a bit of chaos over
Oh,
here.
I love chaos.
He seems very happy with his answer. He looks very happy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know whether he can be all that happy because he's got a question mark at the end.
Well, there was a little question mark at the end of a film, actually. There's a great crime film, which I think has a wonderful problem at the end of it, which is Reservoir Dogs.
Oh,
the end of Reservoir Dogs, where...
Yeah, they're all pointing guns at
yeah,
each
exactly.
other.
So I've actually got some guns to reenact.
Now we're talking. This is maths.
Yeah, this is maths in action. Should we get you standing up and get into character? So usually it's a duel, but this one's called a truel.
Oh, right. That's a proper, that's the
Yeah.
proper Mexican sound effect.
Right, yeah, but there's a kind of, you know, when somebody's pointing at you, you better point at them.
I am the crazed drug dealer. You're the mafia, and you're the feds.
I want to take you down.
Yeah.
Can I just say we don't like the term mafia?
Oh, sorry.
Well, we think it's classic anti-Italian American prejudice.
Okay.
I am just a simple funeral home owner who also has a skip hire business.
Well, I'm a movie producer. I'm a movie producer who has been down on my luck for the last while. So, you know, I'm just looking for one script to get me out of this ugly business. And
Almost everything I own is
You're
in
about
my...
to retire, aren't you? This is
my
last week.
The tragic thing is, this is my last day.
So if you call me a guinea bastard one more time, you flatfoot Mick, I'm gonna put you in the ground. As for you, stool pigeon, you keep putting the stuff on the street and let the kids disco dance, you hear me?
Okay. I think we're in character.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah. So the thing is to work out a strategy which is going to give you the best chance of surviving. So guns up, everybody.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So...
Well,
I'm only kidding. Hey, we can all be friends here.
yeah, but you got one bullet in the gun.
Bullet or no bullet, I'm gonna plug you, you fat Mick.
well, then you're definitely going to get killed by him.
I'll shoot him.
Yeah. And he survives.
Yeah, I think it's genuinely quite...
It's quite... But there is a strategy which gives you the best chance of surviving.
Well, I'm trying to think about
the
it, but it's
shootout.
difficult with guns in my face.
I suggest you just shoot off into the distance.
Really?
Yeah, honestly.
Sheesh. Okay. Well, I'll go with that.
Yeah. You're going to get killed
By his bullet.
by him, and he's going to survive.
Hey, listen to me.
You're both going to die.
Hey, he ain't gonna shoot me. He ain't got the noise.
Which era exactly are you from?
A number of different ones.
I'm going to shoot him to punish him for taking this terrible strategy.
Frustrating.
Yeah, I know, but
it's really frustrating.
But actually, if you do that, if you shoot the wall, if they're being clever mathematicians, they will shoot each other. They each off you go.
Plug you right in the guts.
Yeah. So
Next
they've
thing-
got a kind of 50-50 chance of surviving.
Yeah.
Which they wouldn't do if they pointed it at you. You're guaranteed surviving by
know.
shooting away. So
It's
that's
great.
that's the solution to a truel, is actually not to shoot at anybody.
Yeah.
I shot you in the guts.
So
Your bowel is going into your bloodstream right now.
Yeah, I'll take antibiotics and deal with the septicemia and have a series of operations. That'll be fine.
Yeah. So have you
I
finished your
I
maths?
finished my maths, yeah. You got an answer as well, presumably.
Oh, we got
Oh,
it.
yes.
All right. Don't you worry about us.
We didn't use any of your highfalutin maths either.
No, we use the maths of life.
Yes, we used the fractals that are our eyes.
Let's see how well that worked out.
We're here to lay down the gauntlet to you, science maths types with your ones and zeros.
Oh, I can add up.
Some people count in ones and zeros. I count in colours, in emotions. Love equals betrayal equals purple.
That's absolutely right, yeah. The general idea is you get these lights on, they should replicate the reach of security cameras, and so if we had them all on and the main lights off, you think we might be able to work out how much coverage we'd get. It is kind of difficult to work with Andrew at the moment, just because I sort of feel I'm really having to drive this. I guess then we start rearranging the lights, taking them away a bit, until eventually somehow we work out how we can cover the most. It's not a complete plan yet, but again, you can, in the circumstances, I don't think we're doing too badly. I do have a feeling that in a short time it will be mostly me here.
Teddington Bear.
Literally, it's only been about 10 minutes we've had these costumes on, and he's actually behaving like a sociopath.
All art is destruction. More bears! Put it in the corner, you little minimum educational attainment monkey.
They're very sort of affectionate, aren't they, artists?
It can see it all the way along that wall, look. Hello.
You must remember, Mark, we are only using these as a metaphor
For cameras?
security cameras.
For security cameras.
Instead of a disco light, in fact, a security camera, it would be watching all of this with its baleful mechanic eye.
So we've got what we call, in my line of work, a CPS, or corner prioritisation strategy. That works like an absolute
Number
treat.
3 is a dream. This one covers this.
You're right.
That one in the corner there covers that.
This one is basically just sitting there like a student.
Superfluous.
Lights down, coverage checks, please. Let's check coverage, please.
Torches authorised.
Let's review my art.
Wall 1, please.
Covered.
Wall 2, I need your Wall 2 reading, please.
Definitely covered.
You could just say covered, or covered with reservations, or not covered.
Covered.
Thank you, it's just procedure.
Can I have your Wall 4 reading, please?
2.
Bless you. Can I have your Wall 4 reading again, please?
Covered.
I'd like your Wall 6 results, please, Andrew.
Covered with reservation.
Oh, now. Those are the words you never want to hear as a security guard. Covered with reservations, a CWR.
Mark,
Yes, Andrew.
I now feel satisfied that this wall is covered.
Could we get rid of another light?
I think the only candidate for removal is possibly Mark Watson, number 6. Mark, I've had a revelation. This one!
Yes, of course it's this one.
And this one!
And why? The light here is not mostly splashing onto walls, it's splashing onto nothing.
Unplug it! Unplug it!
Wow, you two really lost yourselves in that.
That's art. That's art, darling.
It was really frightening, actually, the way he behaved.
Yes. But you got an answer?
We have an answer. We believe that the bare number of security cameras needed for this art gallery, using pure artistic instinct, is 4.
I'm going to go for 3. I'm guessing that they all went for 3.
I don't think that proves anything.
So how did you do it in 3?
Yes, there are 2 terms we introduced, convex polygons and concave polygons, right? And the one thing about convex polygons, if you put a camera or a point or anything at one of the vertices, it can see everywhere into it.
Yeah.
Okay? So therefore what you do is you basically divide this into convex polygons, right? These are the ones it breaks down to. That one, for example, is in all sorts of different. It's in that one, and it's in one down here. So that eats up all of that space.
That one.
This camera is in this one and that one. Oh, it's also in this one as well. So basically, you can find a point that is in as many of these triangles as possible.
But it's nice to have 4, isn't it, in case you need a spare?
Well, we are 4 sitting in a cupboard somewhere with spare bulbs and plugs.
Well, I have to reveal whether that's the correct answer.
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Oh,
my God, I thought we'd just gone straight past that.
Maybe you've done your geometry incorrectly.
My. Me and all of mathematics.
There is an algorithm which has been mathematically proved to find what could be the minimal solution. This is how the algorithm works for any particular shape you get given, which is to divide the thing up into triangles, and you can label the corners for the triangles with different colours. Make sure that each triangle has got 3 of the colours on the corners.
Yes.
And then you count the smallest number of colours that you see on these triangles. So the algorithm will give you a potential solution, but there can sometimes be more minimal solutions. Now, if you apply this algorithm, actually, to this shape, it does give the answer 4.
Well, there you go, the end of the show.
But intriguingly, in this case, you have found a shorter way of doing it. So 3 is the correct answer.
But that's the thing, we got bogged down with the algorithm, didn't we?
Exactly. So in fact...
If algorithms are wrong, we don't want to be right.
Exactly.
An algorithm is a set of mathematical steps that can be used to solve a problem. The algorithm for solving this problem gives us an answer for any shape or size of gallery by breaking it down into nice simple triangles. We use triangles because the camera placed on one corner will be able to see all of the other walls and corners. First, stand in a corner and scan clockwise around the room. Every 2 corners you pass creates one triangle. Repeat this for every corner. Second step, pick 3 colours and allocate a different colour to each corner of each triangle. In some cases, the number of corners in the gallery means you end up with a triangle that has 2 corners of the same colour. This one has 2 blue corners. To make sure every triangle has differently coloured corners, you need to break this triangle in 2 and add a green dot. Finally, the algorithm places cameras on the colour that occurs least. By breaking the gallery down into triangles, the algorithm gives us an answer of 4. But by experimenting with more complex shapes, I managed to cover the gallery using 3 cameras. So that's 1 in the eye for algorithms.
So this round goes to Dara and Brains. And so the overall programme goes to mathematics.
Well done, mathematics.
Gentlemen, thank you for coming in and being shamed in front of the nation. That's been yes, at the end, actually, we do thank our math students who, as ever, as one, came up with the correct answer, but in very decorous kind of a ways. Our thanks to our question setter extraordinaire, the Oxford Blue of Bafflement, Professor Marcus de Sotoy, but mainly thanks to our guests who are now happily following the righteous path of maths, Mark Watson and Andrew Maxwell. We'll have more of these finicky problems another time on School of Hard Sums. Thank you very much.
And now time for your homework. There's a very long piece of string tied all the way around the Earth's equator. If you cut it and added in 10 feet more string, would anyone notice? If you'd like to take a look at the answer, or just cheat, go to the website joindave.co.uk.